Good morning, welcome to my broadcast. It's 8:36 a.m. GMT on the 3rd of September 2022. It's the weekend of F1, F2, F3, IndyCar, NASCAR, I think, MotoGP this weekend in the motorsports world. And also, I will cover a little bit of it. Follow me on Twitter at SportyPH2. There is the Merseyside Derby, Everton versus Liverpool today, and also there is the Milan Derby, Inter Milan versus AC Milan, which already is quite significant, as AC Milan, the champions, are, I think, in 6th place and below Inter Milan. So, okay, so this is F2, the feeder Series 2 F1. This is where a lot of Grand Prix drivers have come through in recent years, people like Michael Schumacher. And at the moment, Drugovich, the Brazilian, is got about a 40-point lead over Pocheret, the Frenchman. There was qualifying yesterday, and the qualifying was the following. I have tweeted this out as well, but I'll go through it with you. So it was the top 10: Drugovich, Doohan, Sargent, Verschure, Irasa, Lawson, Horger, Vips, Armstrong, and Novalak. Because of the reverse grid system, the actual starting grid for the sprint race this morning is reversed. So that will be Novalak first, Armstrong second, Vips third, Horger fourth, Lawson fifth, Irasa fifth, 6th, Verschure 7th, Sargent 8th, Doohan 9th, and Drugovich 10th. Okay, so we're going to be driving for Drugovich and for Armstrong. And also, just to say, the latest transfer news on the F1 side, not the football side, is that Oscar Piastri, a very talented Australian who was in F2 last season, has now definitely going to move to McLaren for the 2023 season. Not sure if Drugovich wins this title whether he will get an F1 seat, and if he does, where would he go to? Aston Martin are sorted out now with Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso going to be moving from Alpine. There is obviously a place at Alpine now, so it's going to be interesting to see. Haas is also not resolved yet. Schumacher may not be driving for the next season, depending on results at the end of the season. So yeah, that's all very interesting. I'll keep you up to date as much as I can when I find out the information as well. Okay, so on the F1 22 game, if you're new to this game, there are some new handy features. The first thing to notice is it's not that easy to drive. It's very much like the actual F1 season has been this year with the new technical regulations. So it takes a bit of time getting used to driving it, although you can obviously edit your car setup, etc., that sort of thing. But there's also a really good feature with the theatre now, which I'll show you when we've actually recorded some races. We're going to make it quick. So we're going to go to Grand Prix. We're going to delete that one off. Create a new Grand Prix. And we're going to be F2 2021. We're going to be at the Dutch Grand Prix, Zandvoort. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the F2 drivers. Some of these don't exist on here, and some of them in the actual F2 aren't on here, if you get my drift. We go through them step by step. We go to Prima first, but we'll be looking for Drugovich and Armstrong as our drivers. Prima, we have Schwartzman. Now Schwartzman is a Russian, so he was not allowed to drive this year. I think he drove for a few races, but then he wasn't allowed. There is Oscar Piastri, the aforementioned. As I say, he is moving to McLaren. He's an Australian, quite a young Australian as well. So that's that one. Virtuosi. There is Guan Yu, who is now an F1 driver, the first ever Chinese Grand Prix driver. And there is Drugovich. We'll come back to him later. He is the leader at the moment, comfortably by about 40 points. Move on to Carlin. Dan Ticktum was a Formula E driver this year, and Drew de Ruvela is in the F2 this year. Lawson is in F2 this year, and his teammate Vips, the Estonian, is also in F2. Christian Lundgaard is an IndyCar driver, and Theo Orteo Porchere is second in the standings. He didn't do very well in qualifying. That will not please him. He's about 40 points behind Drugovich in second place. For sure is a Dutch driver. He's in F2 this year. Zen Daly, I think, is in F2 this year. Enzo Fittipaldi. This is the great grandson of Emerson Fittipaldi, Brazilian double world champion in 1972 and 1974, which he claimed in a Lotus and a McLaren. He has a brother called Pietro Fittipaldi, who has driven in F1 before. I think he drove for Haas a few times. Samaya is not in F2 at the moment. Not sure what he's doing in the motorsport world. Nissany is an F2 driver, the Israeli, and a Williams Academy driver or reserve driver, something like that. Marcus Armstrong, we're going to be driving for him, the New Zealander. You can see he's a Ferrari driver at Academy. Now, just because they could finish, maybe if they finish second or third in F2, doesn't exclude them from maybe getting into an F1 team. That really depends on, let's say, how many reserve drivers they've got, etc. Beckman, he is in F2, and so is Beauchamp. Jack Aitken, no longer in F2, has driven F1 before. Also part of the breaking point scenario in previous F1 games. Deleda, don't think he's in F2 this year. And finally, Viscal and Sato. Sato is definitely in F2. I don't think Viscal is, though. So we'll go back to Virtuosi. We'll select Drugovich, and we'll set up, and we'll set up our sessions. So it is AI difficulty of 60, which is hard. That means all the drivers around me are at that level. Assisted race start. Rules and flags. Corner cut and stringency strict. That is as it is in real life, and that means if you exceed the track limits, you could get penalties or warnings at the very least. Pit stop experience is a new thing on F1 2022. Haven't really played around with this. Keeping it as broadcast, that means it's done automatically. But if you do immersive, it says you test your ability to turn into the pit box at the optimal time. I think you get some sort of timing thing going on there. I may play around with that sometime, but at the moment that's set as broadcast. Weather and time of day, we'll keep that as it is, although it could rain with it being Netherlands. Weekend structure, this is important now. There's no practice, there's no qualifying, and there's race format and session length there. So we are going to do sprint. You can do sprint and feature, 2 sprints and feature, or you can do feature only. So normally there'd be a sprint race and a feature race. I'm just going to do a feature race, and we're just going to keep it just 5 laps at the moment. Assists. I don't have a steer wheel. It's a wireless controller on a PS4. Medium brake assist, medium traction control, automatic gearbox, pit assist on, pit release assist on, pit EOS assist on, and DRS assist on. Start the event. So if you've never driven an F2 car before on the game, I highly recommend it for 4 reasons. 1, you may have no idea who the drivers are, although I've told you a little bit about them today. 2, you may have no idea what the constructors are like.
Welcome back to Formula 2, where the tension is building for what promises. We're almost ready to go there.
Here's a starting grid which is randomised.
Looks like for today's race. J.N. Daruvula lines up on pole position. Daniel Ticktum alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Pourchaire, Armstrong, Felipe Drugovich, and Lundgaard, Nissani, Piastri, Samaya, Robert Schwartzman, Joe, Zendelli, Ralph Boschung, and Sato, Fittipaldi, Verschoor, Beckman, and Jack Aitken, Lawson, Deleda, Viscal, and Yuri Vips starts from the back of the grid.
22 drivers in F2 as against 20 in
so let's
F1.
Get down to the track. I'm joined by a man who's had many a wet race, Davide Valsecchi.
So yeah, also
will these conditions be out there on track?
Delighted to be here, Alex. Even in this weather, nothing will be easy for them. We may have standing water, which means visibility will be a worry. They just need to stay clear of the white lines and curbs. That can cause you a real problem when it's so slippery.
So yeah, the 2 other things is that they are all one chassis, which is not upgradable as it is in F1, which means you get, relatively speaking, you get closer racing. You stay in the DRS territory more than you do in F1, and finally you have the sprint feature race scenario. So what happens is you have qualifying, and then you take the top 10, and then what you do for the sprint race is you reverse the grid. So the 10th driver will go first, the 9th driver will go second, the 8th driver will go third, the 4th driver will go 7th, and so on. So that's the sprint race. Then the feature race just reverts back to the qualifying, so whoever qualified first, second or third or whatever will actually start in that situation. This is a feature race, which obviously is also the longer. There wouldn't be a pit, you wouldn't be required a pit stop in the sprint race, but in the feature race you would undoubtedly pit at some stage. Although we are only doing 5 laps, we're not doing the actual usual thing. Okay, so it's a wet Zandvoort. This is going to be interesting. My first battle is going to be to keep it on the track. That's not too bad. A little bit wide there. Got these bank walls, which are maybe like, probably not as high as IndyCar. or NASCAR. You'll see sand dunes. That's because it's near the it's on the beach, I believe, or near the sea. And I believe it's about 25 miles away from Amsterdam. There's a lot of crashing.
Stewards have given you a 3-second time penalty for contact with other cars. That's 3 seconds to be added to our race time. I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
And 6 seconds penalty. All we can really do is complete the race. Point of changing the strategy. I'm at the back anyway.
So another fantastic victory for Carlin today. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Their biggest advantage was how well they seemed to manage their tire temp. There wasn't a lot of grip on them anyway, but it was even worse for the drivers if they couldn't keep the tires in the proper operating mode. Keeping the tires warm was what gave them the advantage.
As we can see, it's time for the podium, and I can see the Carlin team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their driver walks out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
Difficult call, but I'd say Daniel Ticktum. He was committed the entire race, and it's paid off with the result.
After all this drama, you'll be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So if you look at Drugovic's times, 140.288. Good 2 seconds behind, nearly 3 seconds behind some of them. Okay. So we're going to do Armstrong next. He will start second on the grid today after finishing 9th in qualifying yesterday. At least we did finish the race 5 laps, although we did crash and finish last. Well, second last. Okay, so we're going to do the same, F2 2021, Zandvoort Grand Prix in the Dutch Grand Prix. So let's have a look and see where Armstrong is. I think he might have been at Dams. He is, yes, there's Marcus Armstrong. He's at Dams. So let's go quickly again through the settings. AR hard 60, assisted race start. Rules and flags, corner cut and stringency strict as it is in real life. Broadcast pit stop experience means it's looked after. Weather and time of day, won't tweak that. Weekend structure, there's no practice, there's no qualifying, and it's a feature race length, just 5 laps. Assist, there's no steering wheel, it's a wireless control on a PS4. Medium brake assist, being traction control, automatic gearbox, pit assist on, pit release assist on, EIS assist on, and DIS assist on. Start the event. Hopefully it'll be a dry one. Randomised grid. No idea where I'll start.
Welcome along to Zandvoort for another fascinating Formula 2 race today. Four lefts and 10 rights make up the 14 corners of the narrow and demanding Zandvoort circuit, with plenty of peaks and valleys over the course of the 2.6 mile lap, which will demand absolute concentration from our drivers here today. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid. A fantastic effort from Christian Lundgaard yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Daniel Ticktum in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have De Ruyveler, Pourchaire, Guan Yu Zhou, and Schwartzman, Piastri, Armstrong, Nissany, Richard Verschoor, Samaya, Drugovic, Enzo Fittipaldi, and Aitken, Zendelli, Boschon, Deleda, and David Beckman. Sato, Lawson, Viscal, and Yuri Vips starts from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. As we await...
Okay, so it's going to be dry, and we're going to be 8th. Right hand side, not sure about my preference of sides on this track. dear.
Wow, that was a heck of an impact. Let me know you're okay.
Okay, so I'm going to rerun that again, and actually I'm going to do something new. First time I've done this. I'm going to provide a commentary on the F3, which starts in about 10 minutes time. And before that, I'll put out the actual lineup as well. 30 races in F3. So just give me a little while I do that. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and I'll tweet out the F3 lineup, okay? Okay, so we're going to restart that race, and the F3 race at Zandvoort, Netherlands is going to be starting soon, so I'm going to do some sort of commentary. It's a new thing for me. 30 drivers, so it's not easy to keep up with. Hope you enjoy it. So we'll restart the session for Armstrong. Just 5 laps. Get out of the crash, can get out. That does that very often, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to stay on here, and what I'm going to do while waiting for F3 is I'm going to show you the theatre mode I talked about earlier.
So as they climb out of the car, the ART team. An amazing race today, and a very well-deserved one too. The team worked very hard to get exactly what... Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
I go for Wang Zhu. The unique virtuosi driver today just surprised me. He was so aggressive. He deserved the victory.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Armstrong, you can see, ridiculous time, 1:45. Okay. So F3 is about to start. 30 drivers. What we'll do is we're not going to play any more games on here as such. I'm going to show you some of the new features, and I'm going to do some commentary on F3 as well. There's a surprising change to the lineup. Hunter Yaney, the Campos driver, has been replaced by Sebastian Montoya, the son of former F1 driver Colombian Juan Pablo Montoya, and he actually finished 7th in qualifying, so maybe this is a new up and coming star. So they're offering the F3 at the moment, and there we go. 21 laps, and there's already a yellow flag. It's gone green, so it's all going again. I'll give you an update in a few laps' time. Okay, so yeah, other things on here. Let's have a look at the theatre. What that is now. So there's your theatre there. Now you always had a theatre on other games, but this one is, I think is a bit better. Now I'm not sure the criteria for actually recording the videos. Maybe you have to do a certain amount of laps to get the video recorded. Obviously when we're doing the 5-lap videos, they're not getting recorded, but you can see old ones, and I think I'm going to actually replay one of those. There is Felipe Drugovich, the current leader of the F2, by about 40 points from Porsche, and that's at Spain. So have a look at those highlights. Spain is obviously an old race, but we can have a look. So yeah, if you do more than the 5 laps, I'm guessing you get the video recorded. But it's quite a good feature. You can keep them and whatever, and you can replay them as well. And while you do that, while I do that, I shall concentrate on the race. It's Correa, Colapinto, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolder. Sometimes I get this wrong. FCO, F3, Benavides, Villagomez, Pizzi, Leclerc, Juan Marti, Miney, Trulli. I say there are 30 drivers in this race. There you go, it's actually a wet Spain you're seeing there. So we had some action, there was a yellow flag briefly. There was a lot of chaos at the back, but no one's actually gone off. I don't think there's any penalties. I don't think anyone's gone out of the race so far. Roman Stanek may have come off. Let's have a look. Watching the replay, Martins. So the names to look out for in F3 are Hadjar, Behrman and Leclerc. Behrman is British, Hadjar is a Frenchman, and Leclerc is either Frenchman or Monegasque. He's the brother of Charles Leclerc. So you can see you got the highlights there. Oh yes, the wheels come off someone. So we quit there. So it's Correa, Colette, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolder, Colapinto, Fredericks, Benavides, Villagomez, Pizzi, Leclerc, Miney, Juan Marti, I think it is. I'm not sure who the other one is. And Trulli is 22nd. Edgar, the Brit, has just recorded the fastest lap. Oh, I think SCH is Schumacher. Yeah, just looking at the list, Schumacher I think is 21st. So we have 2 or 3 families, famous families there in F1. Trulli, Jarno Trulli's son or relative, Schumacher I think, and we've also got Montoya. And Montoya at the moment is 12th, I think. No, sorry, he's 8th, sorry. So it's coming into about the 5th lap of the 21, and we have Correa, Collette, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolja, Colapinto, Fredericks, Benavides, Villagomez, Pizzi, Leclerc, Miney, One Marty, I think it's Schumacher, Trulli, and still waiting to see who's after 22nd place. There are 30 racers in an F3 race, 30 starters. Get some great action in F2 and F3, as I said, because it's a chassis that's not upgradable like the F1 one. Collette and Correa are going head to head at the moment. Still no casualties, I don't think. No DNFs. So yeah, the Brit interest is Behrman and Edgar. Oh yes, there's a big crash there. There must be some penalty points to be handed out here. Five laps gone. It's Collette, Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolja, Colapinto, Fredericks, Pizzi, Leclerc, Miney, One Marty, Schumacher, I think that is, Trulli, Vidalis, and Zane Maloney, who actually came first in qualifying, so he's clearly gone down the field. Ushijima is 22nd. Edgar's having a good race at the moment. He's in 4th. There's some changes. Villagomez has come in. It's still very close at the top of the Drivers' Championship as we stand. Hadjar would be leading, Martin 2nd, and Behrman is 3rd. $15 laps to go. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for a little while and come back to that. And let's have a look at some other features. So look at some other features on this game. So you've seen the theatre. So you have the single career mode and you have the two-player career mode. Grand Prix, Time Trial and Pirelli Hot Laps. Multiplayer, very similar to before. Play Hub, Podium Pass. I'm actually going to look at the Podium Pass. I might start doing that a bit more often. Now that I've had a break from twitching, as there was a break in the F1. So actually we'll have a look at Podium Pass. I'm not going to do it, but we'll have a look what's out there. So what challenges have we got? Next challenge will be 2 hours and 19 minutes away. So the challenges are win a race at Great Britain driving for McLaren, complete 2 online races, and complete 5 miles in online races as well. Okay. Well, I'm not doing online races at the moment. I need to refresh my PlayStation Plus pass. That enables you to do that. And that's that basically. If we come out of here now, look at the other thing. So you've got these supercars, and you can choose a supercar to unlock. So you've got a Mercedes there, you've got a Ferrari, McLaren again, and another Mercedes. You get these supercar tokens available. So we do that. Okay. So what you can do is, you can see we've got 2 of them now in the bays, and there is a thing called Hot Laps. This is quite an interesting one. Let's have a look what we got. Do all these different challenges. Average speed zones, rival duel, autocross, Austrian time attack. Is there anything for the Dutch Grand Prix? Maybe there is. There is a Dutch Grand Prix, and there's a checkpoint challenge, and there's an average speed zone. Okay, let's give that a go. Rival duel. Okay. Great for newcomers to the F1 series, suitable for all assistants, challenging, offers a balanced. I'm going to put challenging, I think, on that one. So remember, we are at an F1 circuit, but we're in a supercar, not an F1 car. Can't quite remember how we do this now. Prepare to do battle against a single opponent in the equal machine. The event takes place over 3 rounds with varying styles. Okay, so alright. Gold 3 wins. Okay, let's give this a go then. There's my rival behind me. go, so we won that one. Meanwhile, in the F3 we have Colette Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadger, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolder, Colapinto, Fredericks, Leclerc, Pizzi, Maini, Marti, Maloney, Schumacher, I think that is, Trulli, and Usha Jima in 22nd place of the 30 drivers. 11 laps gone of 21. So we won the first race. Can we win the next 2 races? Let's see why not. Fairly well acclimatised to this track now, after a bit of practice. Long way away now. Nice short race, and we get 2 wins. Leclerc going after Frederick at the moment, battling for 15th. Just ending the 12th lap, moved on to the 13th. In the F3, it's Colette Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadger, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolder, Colapinto, Frederick and Leclerc battling for 14th place. Pizzi, Maini, Marti, Maloney, Schumacher, I think that is, and Ushijima in 21st. There's a good lead at the front. Colette against Correa, 1.7ish. There's a few gaps down the line. Hadger and Martins are battling away. Montoya and Crawford are not far away from each other. And Behrman is there as well. Stanek and Smolder within touching distance of each other. It's a dry Zandvoort Grand Prix, so DRS, quite a lot of them are in DRS territory. Just 1 second behind. So we continue. Can we get our 3 wins on the supercars? Ah, okay, this is interesting. This is different. Now we go for now we have to overtake him. Okay. It's interesting. Can we do that safely? We can. Okay, so we've got gold there. Now what does that translate to? What do we get for that? Let's have a look. So, just about 2/3 through the F3 race at the Zandvoort. And it's Colette, Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadger, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Behrman, Stanek, Smolder, Colapinto, Leclerc, Fredericks, Pizzi, Maini, Marti, Maloney, Schumacher, I think that is, Ushijima. Okay, so we win 3, round 1, 1, round 2, 1, and round 3, 1. I advance. So good representation for the English today, the Brits rather. O'Sullivan and Edgar third and fourth. Edgar is got the recording the lap fastest lap. Okay, so that's the supercars thing done. Now you've still got the remember, you still do have the team mode as well. So if you get a single player career, you've got My Team. I do have a team called My Team Hunters. I haven't played for a while. And you also have a driver career as well. The other thing is to show you. Let's have a look. I'm going to delete that off. And maybe I'll do that one. Trying to find something else on here. Where's it gone to? Grand Prix. There's the F1 2022 Custom Championship. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we are nearing the end of the F3 race. It's Collett, Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford. Stanek has just gone 10th, ahead of Behrman, who's 11th. Smolya, Colapinto, Leclerc, Fredericks, Pizzi, Maini, Maloney, Marty, Schumacher, I think that is, Ushijima, and Vidalis in 22nd of the 30 drivers. A good 2-second lap for Collett, the Brazilian. Correa is American. O'Sullivan and Edgar are Brits. Saucy, I think, is Swiss or French. Hadjar is French. Martins is French. Montoya is Colombian, I think. Crawford is an American. Stanek is a Czech Republic driver. Behrman is in 11th, and that's not a great position to be. It's not a great weekend for him at the moment. He's just come off. I'm just watching the replay. He's just come off. So the top 10 at the moment are Collett, Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford and Stanek. Collett is looking good, over 2 seconds ahead. O'Sullivan and Edgar are very close to each other. O'Sullivan, Edgar and Saucy are very... O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy and Hadjar and Martins are very close together. Montoya is a little bit off. Montoya, another new name in F3, but a familiar name in F1. Juan Pablo Montoya, the Colombian. just about 3 laps left of the 21 laps. This is the F3 sprint race that you're joining. 30 drivers. Montoya is having, I think this is his debut. He's having a good debut. He's beating Jack Crawford currently, and Jack Crawford is a good driver. So this is impressive. He's in for Hunter Yaney. I'm not sure how long Hunter Yaney will be out. And Montoya has drove really well to get past Crawford as well. Yeah, he went a little bit out onto the rumble strips, but nevertheless pretty good. So we're very near the end now. Top 10. We'll go backwards this way. It's Stanek, Crawford, Montoya, Martins, Hadjar, Saucy, Edgar, O'Sullivan, Correa and Collette. Hadjar is significant. He's up near the top of the standings. Behrman is 11th, and I think is probably like to stay there. Leclerc is 14th. And he should be safe in 14th, but could be getting 13th. And there's close battles all the way down. Hello UK Hawks, I would really like to join your online league that you race 11 AM UK. I will whisper a Twitch message to you, but first of all I do need to get my PlayStation Plus sorted out so that I can actually play online. So it'll be a little while yet. I just need to find the money for that. So, but thank you very much for your invite, and I hope you're joining my debut. This is my debut on F3 commentaries. I've been doing tweeting out of the F3 and the F2, and I thought I'd try something different. And yeah, so I don't know all the drivers, as you can tell. I'm getting more familiar with them. There's 30 of them. Not easy to work it out, but I'm getting better at it. So yes, I would love to join you. It will be a little while though. I'll follow you on Twitter and all your other social media. I also do have YouTube now, which you can see through my it's very new, so I don't know it off by heart. You can see it through my Twitter, so if you want to follow me there, that'd be great as well. All I'm doing is actually creating my Twitch videos at the moment and download them to YouTube, as I have a problem on my PC, my laptop, to actually do normal YouTube. So, but thank you for your invite, and it won't be too long until I do so. I hope you're enjoying today as well. So we're coming to the end now, and there's still some great battling going on. I'm just watching a replay, and Leclerc is trying to get up to 12th place. We're just coming to the end now. There's not likely to be much change, and with about a lap to go, I'm going to do it in reverse order from 21st backwards. We have 22nd. Ushijima, Vidalis, Schumacher, I think it is, Martins, Maini, Maloney, Pizzi, Fredericks, Smolja, Leclerc, Colapinto, Behrman, Stanek, Crawford, Montoya, Martins, Hadjar, Saucy, Edgar, O'Sullivan, Correa and Collette. Edgar is the fastest lapper, and he could possibly get third place from O'Sullivan. Hadjar will be happy with this performance. Behrman is one of the nearest competitors, at the top of the standings. He's not having a good race. He's 11th, and I think he's likely to stay there. So Hadjar's making up some ground. Remember, there is the feature race tomorrow as well. And the news today, Montoya, Sebastian Montoya, I'm not sure, I think it's Sebastian Montoya, the son of Juan Pablo Montoya, the Colombian F1 driver. He's having a really good race. He's 8th at the moment, and he's beating Crawford, who's pretty good, and he's also beaten Behrman, who's pretty good, and Leclerc, who's very good. So there could be a promising driving career ahead of the young Montoya. We're coming to the end now. Colette, and going through the nationalities. Colette is Brazilian, Correa is American, O'Sullivan and Edgar are Brits, Saucy I think is Swiss or French, Hadjot is definitely French, Martins is French, Montoya is Colombian I believe, Crawford is American, Stanek is Czech Republic, Behrman is a Brit, Leclerc is Monaco or French, Colapinto is Argentine, Smollett is a Russian I believe, Fredericks is American, Pizzi is an Italian, and we've got the winner. It's Colette, Correa, O'Sullivan, Edgar, Saucy, Hadjar, Martins, Montoya, Crawford, Stanek, Behrman, Leclerc, Colapinto, Smolja, Fredericks and Pizzi. Top 16. Maloney, Maini, Marti, Schumacher, Vidalis and Ushijima. And just going to finish off with the actual okay, so that's enough for today. Thank you for watching and following. Thank you, UK Hawks, for your invite to the league. I'm really looking forward to that when the time comes. I hope you enjoyed this. I say I'm going to do this a bit more. I think there's only one more race left in the F2, F3. I'll finish the view now. Thank you for watching, following me, viewing me, etc., and talking to me. And I'm still going to be doing a lot of streaming this weekend. There'll be MotoGP, there'll be some F2, more F2, there'll be some F1. And there'll be some FIFA as well later on tonight. I will tweet out the result of this on my Twitter @SportyPhD. Now I am trying to focus on motorsports, but it doesn't mean I don't do the football. I don't tend to do the Premier League, but I do try and keep an eye out, watchful eye on the Serie A, Liga 1, etc. And I'm really going to look forward to watching the Italian derby today. Inter Milan versus AC Milan. Inter Milan actually above AC Milan in the table. Roma are second and Atalanta are first. So I do tweet out or retweet a lot of stuff for the leagues. Also follow a very good friend of mine and fellow streamer, Craig Hawkins 2021. He does a variety of streams. We do some co-stream together. He does F1 like me. He does Jurassic World, he does FIFA at a much better standard than I do, and we will do joint streams as well. I also do stream on Project Cars 2. There's no IndyCar this week, and but I have been doing some of the IndyCar circuits and reviewing the season. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and catch you again. Look forward to joining a online league with UK Hawks. Thank you, bye bye.